I added this page to briefly talk about combined type of seating, patio seating and bench seating. We are getting pricing such that we will be able to have a good idea of cost for each design and can modularly put them together and know what it will cost. Think of Legos. We can then finalize our design and get a full bid. I know the design process will involve more than one person, so getting over specific is not meaningful. If we get over specific, it won't help. Don't get too hung up on the fine details, as it will be a discussion and negotiation and probably votes and compromises. However, I did want to dispel some of the false showstoppers that have been tossed out about storms and sightlines. Put a high-boy chair behind a low chair and you will see you can see tennis. There are only 2 rows of seating on the patios, so visibility is good, as are the social seating aspects. I know some of our introverts may not appreciate that as much as others in our community, but we want to make all types of folks happy and attract them. So I'll get into the rest of this chart now. First, to orientate you on the picture, you can see that this is kind of an aerial view of tennis. And you may recall a video that circulated this spring on tiered patio seating. It was a concept idea video, not an actual proposal. A picture of that concept is on this page. And you can see I've got east, south, west, and north labeled for your reference. And if you look over on the east side, you'll see a bunch of lines. What those are is the Google Map view of our patio seating, and all this is to scale, more or less. Again, it's just a concept, and it's also not the concept we're proposing at this time. It's a slight variation on it. But you can see those are the bench seating, so that's where, and you can even see the lines of bench seating, just so you know. And then over on the right, you can see the 2-tiered patio seating that was in the original view. So the general concept of what I proposed on the previous pages in this presentation would be that there would be only 1 tier of patio seating, and you would even be able to move it a little to the west a few feet, so and have some steps down for up to 2 rows of bench seating. So you'd come in at the same level as the patio behind the tennis office, and then you could walk over to the patio, and that maroon colored patio that you see there would be a few feet to the west, and it would allow you to have a step down for 2 rows starting at the ground level of bench seating if you wish to do that. If you don't wish to do that, we could simplify and not do it, but it's there so you could have ground level bench seating for some folks. You would also be able to have bench seating above. So if you decided to put more bench seating above, you could on that side. In addition, you would be able to put bench seating on the east side of the court. So that's on the other side where those benches are projected. You wouldn't put all those benches in, but you may put a few rows, or you may do some variation on that. So there's a lot of possibilities here, but that's the hybrid concept. It would be one patio tier, bench seating on the west side if you want it, and even up above and down below, and then possible bench seating a few rows on the east side if we so chose. Contrary to the fearmongers, the sight lines to watch tennis are fine and have been demonstrated. If you watch the video, and even everything on this thing is kind of to scale, because it's projected onto the Google Map. It's actually well scaled. So I just want to point out, it's been kind of conveniently forgotten that you will have sight lines, and they were discussed earlier in the process, and I think people have just forgotten. Storm issues are no different than for pool furniture. We don't rule out pool furniture due to possible storms. It's manageable and simple. We would use commercial grade stacking chairs and lay them on their side during a hurricane in a stack, and that would produce a low wind profile. And we'd either have them up against a rail or a fence in the front, or if there's a wall, we'd put them up against the wall up to the step up behind. And then we would have built-in eyelets that you could run a cable through and anchor it and lock it down in place. So it'd be a very low profile. It would be very robust against storms. Okay, so now let's get on to the points of some of the aspects here. Over there on the yellow on the right side, our tennis events are as much about social aspects as they are about viewing tennis. This isn't quite like going to Miami or Wimbledon or anything. We're here for a lot of fun and activity. Patio seating is better for social aspects. It also gives us that resort feel. People who like chairs can sit at center court instead of being stuck on the end every time. Um, Having the patio join the area behind the tennis office gives us great flow. If you can see it, it flows from the patio all the way to that area. Imagine that with only one tier, by the way, as I said, on the right or the west side. And it also addresses some of the handicap access issues we should and must face coming forward. When we do remodels and anything like that, we're going to have to make it handicap accessible. Um, I also think it's the right thing to do. We want people to be able to walk up ramps to this patio level and then be able to share good seating and mix with the community just like everyone. So that's what I'm promoting, and that's why I'm kind of a believer in a hybrid, was the social aspects, the resort-like feel, and the flow and the beauty of it. So thank you. Thank you again for your time. Hi, this is Rick Draz. Welcome to a discussion about the World Tennis Club WTC Naples Stadium seatings. I'm a representative of Bermuda Royale on the Master Board. Where does Rick Draz stand on stadium seating? Listening to the community through discussions and the very good survey responses, and considering the advice from the real estate community gathered by our community members, I'm in favor of that we don't go cheap or minimal, do it right. Buyers in many of our community want a resort-like feel and amenities. Forward-looking speculative statements that group indicate that there's up to a 10 to 30% market value opportunity. Now, it's speculative, I admit, but there was good reason to believe as we start updating and fixing all these problems, our values can go up. Doing it right should be well worth it for the return on investment. Visualize for yourself what it would look like if our old falling down facilities look new and awesome. We have a tremendous location that we can leverage on top of that too. Stadium court is the centerpiece of World Tennis Club. 74% said so. Tennis exhibitions are a popular event. 79.6% participate, and good for social engagement and community morale, and also keeping the community cohesive. It's okay to reduce the seats and more of a sit on the side of the sun at our backs. So we got that message out of there too. That's 68 to 72% depending on which question you look at. It's okay to greatly reduce seats on court 10 and 12. That's about 80% depending on which question you look at. We like bleachers and tiered patio seating, but many, 42%, are indifferent. We want some backs on our chairs though, that's for sure, 68%. So where does Rick Draz stand with stadium seating? I will work towards a beautiful design that has 150 to 180 seats, that has a patio tier at the same level with the current patio in front of the tennis office. The patio will be on the west side. It should have ramp access to welcome, stair, and mobility challenged neighbors and guests. It should comply with all laws for safety and access, things such as rails, ramps, etc. The design will also be a combination with good bench seating available too, so we should put some benches in. I'm open as to if the bench seating goes above the patio level and or several additional rows on the east side of the stadium court, or both. I'm even okay if we put a front row bench seat on the ground level in front of the patio tier. I'm open-minded about how we discuss that, and I just want to let people know verbally here that I'm open to bleacher seating at a high level also. It's not a deal breaker, but we should be talking about it in all earnestness. And I think what I like about the combined look is it satisfies 100% of our constituencies. 23% want bleachers, 19% want tiered, 16% both, and 42% have no preference. If we do the combo plan, everybody gets what they asked for. And it looks kind of cool and nice looking and up to date instead of old-fashioned and wore out. I'm okay if the capacity goes a little higher if we decide an extra row or two is more attractive. So I'm not hung up on if we put a few extra in, and I go in line with the people that say, hey, let's replace everything. I'm not in alignment with it, but I'm open to being a little flexible if we have an extra row or two. I don't want to overshoot by a mile, but a little bit overshoot for aesthetic balance and things like that are fine. We should put chair backs and arms on the patio seats. Chair backs on all or many of the bench seats. Benches made of synthetic wood. And I think we got the message on chair backs, so I really would like to see that in there too. Board members that don't respect the survey. All those numbers that I mentioned earlier, 74, 79.6, 68 to 72, 68%. Those are big percentages of our community. Board members that want to just discard the input from the survey and come up with their own great ideas and cut corners, they should listen to their constituents. And I believe their constituents will remind them, and they will remember if they don't listen to them.